And we're going to begin on this Friday morning with a new look at Donald Trump from the January 6th committee.
My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
Those are some of the outtakes we were talking about at this time yesterday morning. Video evidence we've now seen for the first time in last night's primetime public hearings. Images of a fuming Trump refusing to acknowledge he lost the election, made in the aftermath of the attack on Congress, the violence by his supporters that would ultimately fail to keep him in the White House. This morning, the committee is promising more revelations to come.
Doors have opened, new subpoenas have been issued, and the dam has begun to break. Every American must consider this. Can a president who is willing to make the choices Donald Trump made during the violence of January 6th ever be trusted with any position of authority in our great nation again? And raise their right hands.
Some of the other revelations from last night's testimony: that Trump knew within minutes that a mob was storming Capitol Hill. But over the next 3 hours, he repeatedly refused to make a single call to stop it. We're also learning that Secret Service agents for the former Vice President, Mike Pence, feared for their own lives. In Washington, journalist Caroline Malone is with us this morning. The committee set out, Caroline, to take us into the White House that day and revealing what Donald Trump did or did not do, minute by minute, over more than 3 hours. So what is the main new evidence that we learned from that testimony yesterday?
Well, absolutely. We learnt essentially in those hearings that Donald Trump did not act when his supporters were waging an attack on the US Capitol in his name. The live testimony from former White House aides, including Matthew Pottinger and Sarah Matthews, along with further details from former White House counsel Pat Cipollone's videotaped testimony, showed that Trump chose not to act. Cipollone's testimony said he knew how serious the situation was before rioters had entered the Capitol, which they did around 2:15 on that day, and that he and others in the White House pushed for a strong statement from Trump to try and quell the violence. But Trump didn't act for 3 hours. Let's have a listen to more of what they had to say.
It was essentially him giving the green light to these people.
He's the commander-in-chief. You got an assault going on the Capitol of the United States of America. And there's nothing. No call, nothing, zero.
Trump didn't place a single call to law enforcement or to national security as that very serious attack was unfolding. And all of this, as we know, people were storming the Capitol, and the Vice President Pence and his security detail and others in the Capitol were in danger. Audio and video from the hearing also shows how endangered Pence's security detail felt on January 6th, some of them even fearing that they would die that day.
Caroline, yes, that was a really horrifying video as part of last night's proceedings. The outtakes were also a feature, and I was mentioning in introducing you that Trump appears to be fuming as he records that message the day after the violence. What is the key takeaway there, do you think?
Absolutely. Well, the House committee investigating the insurrection did show the footage of Trump having difficulty getting through the script of that message, as you're talking about, that was released on January 7th, the day after the riots at the Capitol. That Trump, in particular, refused to say the election results had been settled, and he even attempted to call the rioters patriots. Let's have more of a listen to those outtakes.
Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
Well, we've heard in previous hearings from the January 6th House committee from people like White House aide Cassie Hutchinson, who described also the lead up to January 6th and then also Trump's angry interactions with security detail after he was told he couldn't go to the Capitol on the day. Now we have the evidence that he didn't act during the riot itself. And this concludes the hearings for the summer, and which they'll resume again in September. But lawmakers say this investigation is ongoing. They're going to continue to assemble evidence that will be weighed by the Justice Department and compiled in a report with recommendations to be heard later this year.
Caroline, thank you very much. Caroline Malone starting the hour in Washington.